DTCC, Fidelity, the entire thing was just institutions. It's next level. This industry is going to the next level. And guys, I don't know what else to say. I'm bullish.
You said it, you finally said it.
I'm so bullish.
Andy's bullish, I'm bullish, we're bullish. We're going to the top. We're on 4th floor today. We're gonna be on floor 1, and then we're headed straight to the moon, boys.
All right. Rob is back. If you guys remember yesterday, I was on the end of my 4-hour stream. I looked at the time, and I was like, oh my God, 4 hours and 2 minutes. I was like, where's Rob? I was like, where did Rob go? So Rob's back.
We're so back.
He's back.
It's like I'm trapped in a box. I've been through the ringer and back.
Have you?
It's good to be back.
Oh man, you've been taken down by the exploiters of the Twitter land.
Yeah, the exploiters of Twitter land. They had me in the first half, but we whacked them in the second half. We got them right back.
Dude, I can't imagine that it felt good having your Twitter account taken away from you.
So let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
I'm in New York City with Al. We're on the 17th floor of a 5-star Williamsburg hotel. I'm ordering room service, and I get a call from an unknown number.
Did you use the Amex? Did you use the business Amex?
Of course.
So you get free room service in select hotels. Did you get that perk?
Of course.
Dude, the 120 a day is insane, Rob, bro. All right, please continue. Please.
Yeah,
shout out to Nate. He showed me that one. I was like, all right, bro, I've got to take this one now.
Shout out Amex Platinum. So I get a call. I'm eating my breakfast, and I get a call.
Yeah.
And look, I get a lot of calls. I'm sure we all get a lot of calls that come up as spam risk. You don't answer any calls like that. But I've got friends in California. It doesn't come up as spam risk. It comes up as a seemingly legitimate call, right? And so, for one, you shouldn't answer any unknown calls. That's just a given at this point. The other thing is, like, how is there not a better service for blocking these calls? It doesn't make any sense. We get so many. I get scam texts like 10 a day. I'm sure we all get like 10 phone calls a day. It's ridiculous that whether it's Apple or whatever phones carrier you have, Verizon, AT&T, whatever, it's ridiculous that this is not more, there isn't a better solution for this. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. Well, there is.
I get this call.
We get to it.
And really the way this goes is that there's an email that gets sent. It looks like it comes directly from Twitter. It has an @x.com handle. And so I was under the impression that, there was a suspicious login to my account, and they called me in order to lock my account, which was the silliest thing, right? And so, long story short, I was distracted, and I received a text that was then used to compromising my account. Realized right away that it was suspicious, and then we started to take measures to prevent that. And you know, we ended up shortly thereafter getting back into the account. It's a whole rigmarole, but the X support, once we did get in contact with them, was very, very helpful. So
Dude, shout out to AJ
anyway,
for that, for the
yeah,
full
shout out AJ,
connect.
super clutch.
That was
Anyway,
annoying, man.
New York City
So
was
annoying.
magical. Christmas in the city was incredible. Just one thing after the other. It felt like we were in a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, man.
Backstage at the Nutcracker with Anne Hathaway.
No way. Did
Peter Lugers.
who did you get tickets from? Wait, what? Really? Did
Oh,
Alex
yeah.
hook you up?
So we got tickets. Alex's girlfriend was the one that brought us backstage.
Sick.
And she was like, "Hey, like
So
a lot of
clutch.
people are going to be trying to come backstage tonight. Make sure you're like here when the show ends because Anne Hathaway is here and she's, got a whole cabal." Like, oh, okay.
Cabal.
So we get up there and yeah,
Nice, man.
Devil Wears Prada. She's in all these movies.
Yeah.
And, she's up there on stage talking to the dancers and getting pics. I guess she goes every year. It was very cool. Walking through Central Park, snow on the trees, such a vibe.
Good,
Felt
man.
like a winter wonderland. Al found out she passed her boards as we're walking through Central Park. Remember that 6-hour test that she had to take a couple weeks back?
Nice, dude.
So we passed that. It was good vibes all around.
Well, you
Got
missed the
everything,
Coinbase
on
stream.
the account resolved.
You missed an epic stream while you were fighting your. First of all, congrats on the room service, man. Huge accomplishment.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Congrats. No, congrats. That was huge dub
Yeah.
there, boys. No, but dude, so yesterday Coinbase had an insane announcement product lineup. I know you saw the stream. I know you saw the announcements. They did a whole clip barrage. Did a pretty good marketing rodeo there for them. And yeah, man, I mean, that was the biggest news of the week, really. But I think like the vibe.
We're gonna have Brad, the head of the creator ecosystem at Base. He's gonna come on to tell us about
We
it.
had David from their side praising controller stream. Had Limone. It was good. We had controller stream ripping yesterday. I'm gonna pull it up again today and try to get it firing again. But I'd like to just go over it. Like we should start with going over what happened on Coinbase. There's a really good article from a guy, Haweem, who kind of put together his thoughts, and I think it's worth going through. I think you've had a look at it. But I guess from your perspective, from the outside, what was it like watching the I'm sure you watched some of our streams, saw their clips. Coinbase is trying to be a bank. They're trying to literally become the everything app. Verticalization is as present as it's ever been. We've known this has been coming. There's a reckoning of sorts happening in the market. What's your take on the institutional bull run verticalization Coinbase? Let's get Haweem's article up and we can walk through some of the specifics.
So there was already a couple of bank charters that were approved, not for Coinbase, but I believe it was for Ripple and Fidelity, and there was one other. And so we see the direction that crypto companies are heading into the direction of becoming their own banks.
Yeah.
Coinbase already acts as a bank. We've seen the integration with Morpho and some of the on-chain lending products that they are verticalizing and they're bringing into the main Coinbase offering and the main product stack to offer this as interest on customer deposits.
Yeah, so you see Brian Armstrong's head and then you see Coinbase in the inside. And as you're saying, they're kind of taking these offerings and trying to really expand them. So go ahead and scroll down here, guys. We'll kind of see some of the first of all, I gotta give Haweem a shout out for his copywriting skills. Coinbase is lying to you. They said it's just a brand refresh, quote unquote, big delays coming here. In reality, they're smuggling crypto rails into every sector of the economy. It's genius and terrifying. I have dissected every second of their hour-long stream update. And so Haweem also watched a ton of our content yesterday. He put a shout out under. But first of all, this is a great headline and a great way to start a technical article. And so props to you, man. My copywriting chops are firing. So they started with this agentic economy, and he kind of labeled as 7 core pillars. So we can get into basically what they said, but they got into like this idea of an AI robo advisor on the Coinbase
Right.
app. So we can keep, if you keep going down, we'll get more details as we see. And basically, there's like this like revival of X402, and Coinbase has been pushing it hard. And basically, they're really doubling down on this as a way for like the integration of the crypto economy with AI. And so they're projecting billions of AI agents within 3 to 5 years. They can't use a credit card. We've heard this a lot. So Coinbase is leaning into this. To me, it's a no-brainer. I deposited on Mamo on freaking it was like Moonwell's AI agent on the Base app yesterday. It was pretty sick. So this is just to me is an obvious next step for crypto. We talked about it. Like you're going to interact with an LLM prompting interface to operate on chain in the future. It's pretty sick. So this is like the first one.
Remember, Coinbase invented X402.
Okay. Really?
It was incubated internally.
Sick.
And so, yeah, so they brought X402 to market. It's been around a long time. It's, started to gain a lot more in popularity. And this is the standard by which a lot of these LLMs are going to interact with one another. We also had Sriram and Andrea come on the show and talk to us about what the next era of AI agents, how that's going to be differentiated. We know now that agents are able to own property that may or may not make them sovereign and sentient.
Yes.
But they are property owners.
Trippy one right there.
They will become functioning members of the economy.
Yeah.
And X402 is going to play a major role in that. And I think this is part of Coinbase's plan they're a really forward-thinking fintech company.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of the infrastructure being built. We see the groundwork being laid. So it's no surprise that they're entrenching themselves in the traditional banking sector, but also making strides on the technology.
Yeah, man. I like this one. This wasn't even in my top 3 though, which is crazy. Let's keep going. I think that there are some better ones. So yeah, there's these kind of black boxes for AI. We don't really know how good they're going to be, hallucinations, etc. But if we scroll down, this is like the biggest. This was my number 1, the everything exchange, stocks, perps, prediction markets. I kind of chose like stocks as the biggest thing, but it's really all of it. So basically, as you can see, Coinbase is now going into allowing tokenized equities 24/7 globally. I think it's huge for democratization of access. And then I think also, like going through the actual perps, prediction markets, integrations, really, really, really cool stuff. So, yeah, I mean, this is like a big verticalization step. They're basically looking at all the competitors in the market and saying, we're going to head to head with all the centralized exchanges. We're going to go head to head with all the perps platforms, and we're going to integrate the best prediction markets, which they chose Kalshi in this regard, to try to basically rival the Robinhoods of the world and the other platforms of the world. So curious to get some of your thoughts on this everything exchange stuff, bro. And then we're going to move off of Coinbase. But yeah, I think we have a bunch of stuff to cover before Brad comes on, but this is my number 1 by far.
We're going to see a lot more of this.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot more everything exchanges. I think the new infrastructure is liquidity. And so we have enough chains, we have enough rollups. This is going to look like in the back end is Coinbase tapping into liquidity, Robinhood tapping into liquidity. They're going to tap into call sheet prediction markets.
Yep.
They can tap into hyperliquid perps, for example. We've seen a bunch of distribution channels do this.
Yep.
Tapping into Morpho lending markets. The new DeFi mullet is centralized front end, liquidity back end.
Yeah, I mean, that has been the DeFi mode, but I do know, like, it's like this new form of like everything in one place, where you can see it. And basically, like, I like how Hohem lays out like the bear and bull cases. ICOs, another one of my favorite ones, top 3 as well. They're bringing on this new ICO machine. Really, really, really cool. I thought this was really solid from a kind of first principles perspective. I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of weird that they use the Monad sale on like their platform. Like they acquired Echo and then they didn't use it for Monad. I was a little bit confused. I assumed they figured something out there with Kobe. I'm still waiting for the up only episodes. I thought this ICO stuff was pretty solid though. So yeah, guys, I mean, you can read the whole article on Hohem's account at Crypto Hohem, I believe, or at Hohem. Let me just double check that. If we scroll to the top here, you guys can see where to find it, at HOOEEM. So I thought that was pretty. I thought this was like probably like the best article that I saw recapping the Coinbase stuff yesterday.
Yeah, and I'll just comment on this as a whole, which is that crypto's always been a Trojan horse. Like it was always the case that we were going to embed the blockchain culture, ethos, and technology inside of the existing financial system.
Yeah.
People thought it was going to be this wild revolution with the US dollar capitulating into hyperinflation. It's not the case. The US dollar is going to continue to be around, but
Yep.
we can start to entrench our technology and therefore the ethos of our technology inside of these systems. And I think that's
Yeah,
what
it's
stablecoins are doing. That's
yeah.
what these neobanks are doing. And that's how we ultimately arrive at a permissionless system.
I mean, it's just that it's not like this revolutionary force. I mean, it is in its own regard, but the OG Bitcoiner mindset is important, like the whole like libertarian values and that such and that kind of thing. But yeah, the path to adoption is seemingly showing to be more institutional, mutual, etc., and kind of like this more slow integration path. So, all right, guys, we're gonna move into the next thing off of Coinbase here. It was a great stream yesterday. I think we actually just have one more thing on Coinbase. It's kind of like this new era. Let's go ahead and flip off of Haeem. Shout out to him for checking out our stream yesterday and writing this up. Much love, dude. So we'll go ahead and just move to the next one here, Rob. And we got a fun stream. We got Brad.
Where do you
and we got
think
the others.
where do you think these financial super apps end up? It feels like you can't have too many super apps, can you?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like this maturation of the space, there's really the verticalization is by design. It's like it's like effectively going out and saying you're competing against anyone who has any of these offerings. I mean, look at all these products that they launched yesterday. Prediction markets, stock trading, equity pairs futures, full DEX integration, including million of assets on Solana, borrowing against Bitcoin and ETH, new payment and money transfers, AI-powered advisor, business, token sales. I mean, come on.
But like this is everything I would want from a bank in 2030.
Yeah. I mean, then you just have Coinbase as your main bank. That's what they're going for. They're going to be the Zoomers bank.
And there is this transfer of wealth that's happening.
Yes, there is. Yes. The amount of 5-figure net worth, 6-figure net worth, 7- and 8-figure net worth people over the next 10 years are going to be dominated by those who invested in crypto.
The proportion of crypto holders
they're going to be stuck in 6, 7, and 8
figures.
Hell.
Those are majority crypto owners.
5, 6, 7, 8-figure hell. I mean, come on.
And so if you're a bank and you're not offering crypto products and services to this new rising sector,
you're missing
of the
a massive shift in the way where the money is going to kind of concentrate.
Right. There's a capital flight out of those.
No, I mean, the boomers are still going to be loaded up on their Schwab accounts and on their Wells Fargos and on their TDs and on their, all their tradings and Robinhoods and stuff. So there's going to be this shift, but yeah, like this is where the new capital formations come. It's bullish. It's new money vibes. It's like Coinbase is the new money app. If you're part of this,
they're
new
like
economy,
the new money bank.
And that's what
Coinbase
Jess is talking about. He's like,
bank.
yo, we're trying to make a bunch of money for our base app creators. Like it's all about making. It's all about earning. And man, I mean, it's just like it's very clear to me that earning is what is the angle for Coinbase and for Base. Whereas other banks and other institutions, they're not like you can make money by using my app. It's like you get your little savings rate, etc. These new neobank kind of concepts are like more like, yo, use our app and you're going to get wealthier over time by using our app, just because we're going to take you on this journey. And like with the AI advisor, think about it. You build a relationship with this LLM over 5 years who guides you on your financial decisions. Is it a good time to buy Bitcoin now? Is it a bad time to sell this? Here's what I have in my portfolio. I want to go more risky, more conservative. Help me out. Like you start to build this thing where you're going to rely on Coinbase and these neobank apps, not just as a place to hold your money, but as your way to generate more value and multiply your capital in investing over time. So it's like, I would firmly argue that the users of Coinbase's everything app, the users of the Kraken neobank app, the users of these types of like new applications, they're going to outcompete and outperform those who don't use these apps. So it's honestly a call to action. Like use the Base app, use Coinbase app, and obviously use DeFi too. But like, I think that there's going to be, I think if you use these apps and get set up and don't go crazy on leverage or anything, you will be richer in 5 years based on the market and just based on the financial health and habits that you develop. Because like they're basically trying to train young people to have a personal financial structure that's long-term bullish. And I get prediction markets, perps, futures are all like very, very, you know, risky and very, very hard. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to be the new money, right? This is like the new money app.
Okay. So, Andy, you and I were around in 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Celsius, BlockFi were
Yeah.
offering
Right.
similar interest rates
Right.
and the ability to earn on capital in centralized exchanges.
Yes.
How is Coinbase offering these opportunities, these financial instruments? How is that different
I mean, they're just
than
publicly regulated, I guess.
the CDFI wave?
Yeah, it's not necessarily different. It's just more legit now. And it's more there's non-custodial aspects of it too. Base app's fully non-custodial. You know what I mean? And so, yes, Coinbase app is a custodial exchange, and they do charge fees and they have all these programs, but Coinbase is publicly regulated on a quarterly basis. So it's just
Yeah.
like we've grown up a bit, like, trust me,
The reg-
bro, is like, I don't see Coinbase blowing up. So
Neither do I, but I don't think if you would have asked anyone back then whether those companies were going to blow up, they may have suspected a little bit more, but it does feel like now this
yeah,
time is a little bit different.
I mean,
it's
I
different
think it
for a
definitely
couple.
is.
I think it's for a couple reasons. The regulatory certainly has an aspect to it.
Yeah.
I think the really important part of how Coinbase users are earning 6, 7, 8% on stables, which is different from the way that it was done in the CDFI wave. They are passing on-chain yield to the centralized exchange
directly from Morpho or Moonwell or whatever.
Directly from Morpho. They make it super easy. You just click start lending and you choose the amount that you want. And I think that, okay, now Near is going to go live on Solana, but just to close that loop on that point.
Yeah, just close that loop. The team's ready to keep you rolling here. Me too. They're trying to keep us in line over there.
Well, I appreciate that, guys, behind the scenes. Like, there's really two reasons. I think one is that they're tapping into on-chain liquidity, which actually is stickier and more sustainable than the way that yield was being generated in the previous era. Two is the earnings from bringing social closer to financial.
Yeah, exactly. That was the big thing that we talked about with the Base team yesterday. It's like this convergence. Like, what issue are you solving? They're solving like the creator flywheel. They're solving other kind of like issues in terms of like the way that new people are interacting with finance. Yeah, I mean, I think there's quite a few reasons. Kind of closing out that Coinbase loop, Rob, I think it's bullish, man. This neobank concept is what we've been talking about as far as institutional golden bull. And I'm pretty stoked on it. To just look at Near real quick. I mean, these guys are just everywhere. I mean, just, okay, we're on Solana. We're going to use Orb Markets, which is Helios's product from like Mert's company. And yeah, they're going to be everywhere. They just did Crushing Intense. They announced it out there. Near's obviously our AI super cycle sponsor / co-host. They're awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. Near is live on Solana. Near is firmly one of the projects that has excelled this cycle of all the L1s. And I do not say that just because we have a collaboration with them. They're actually facilitating tons of Intense volume. They've actually now created real chain abstraction with their Intense product. Their Intense bridge is dominating a lot of other bridges in terms of fees generated as well as activity. Their AI products are killer. They just launched a private AI product. Near is everywhere right now. I'm bullish on Near. And it's tough to say like price because it's just a bear market across the board right now, effectively. I mean, that's just the reality. So price aside, the fundamentals here, Near is returning to fundamentals in that way. Hope that they can turn their products into viable revenue consistently over time, whether it be their chat product, monetizing it, whether it be their bridge. So that's what I got on Near. I'm pretty stoked that they're live on Solana. And just wanted to cover that. So that's the vibes, bro. I don't know. Just Near on Solana, man. That's it. What do you think about Near on
I think
Solana,
this is multi-chain.
it's chain
This is what
abstraction.
things are.
Yeah.
It is chain abstraction. It's
Solana wants to be the
multi-chain.
everything chain. Trade everything on Solana. Trade any asset, just like Base wants to. Just like
Yeah,
Coinbase.
I do think there is a slippery slope here where if you try to do everything, then you sort of do nothing.
But if you are the execution engine for all trading, that's bullish. That's been like this that's been the Solana thesis forever. It's like Base
Like-
wants to have all assets tradable on Base. You can trade Solana on Base, you can trade Near on Base, you can trade stocks on Base. Hyperliquid, the same thing. Hyperliquid is the chain to house all of finance. Everybody wants to be the place where everything is traded. Hyperliquid's winning.
You sound like the bullish one here. The vibes seem to have switched. The tables have turned.
Oh no, I mean, I'm just pragmatic. I'm just trying to understand what's happening. I am bullish, but it's just like I'm in the institutional bull camp. I've removed myself
How do
from
you
the
think?
from the camp of CT.
How do you think? I think that's probably healthy for the mental. How do you think near intense near on Solana? How does this play into the institutional developments?
Yeah, I say let's flip to the next one, and I think this will further answer your question. So basically, I think that this intense product is going to create this like private privacy chain abstracted world where you can go from Near to Starknet to Solana to Zcash, and you create these little pocket of silos that is like this bullish private interaction across chains. Like private cross-chain transactions leads to much more desire, I think, from the institutional side to participate. And so this is like they're calling it Zarkneer. Starknet goes full intent mode. Some things are best kept private. And Rob, I think that the answer is the institutional side is best kept private. In fact, the institutional side is demanding privacy. The institutional golden bull will not happen without privacy.
Okay. I think a lot of the tokenized stock offerings and the ability to turn these physical stock certificates into not only digital representations of equities, but tokenized representations of equities is going to blur the lines between Wall Street and DeFi. And I think as that happens, compliance is going to be extremely important. And so to see the multi-chain evolve in such a way that every chain is available on, or every asset is available on every chain.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be institutions are going to be extremely selective about what assets and what chains they go onto. I think like DTCC, their tokenized stock offering, is only going to allow the major assets like Bitcoin and ETH at the very beginning. I think there will be tokenized stock and equity offerings that will allow this two-way street and allow you to withdraw your equity, convert it into a tokenized equity, and deposit it into one of these like X stocks or tokenized
What's your take on the privacy element of this institutional side? Let's close this loop on Stark, Zcash, Near. You see what they're doing here, this little trifecta. Do you see this privacy? Do you see how it's coming together for like this privacy narrative?
I do, but I think it's outside the purview of the institutional scope. I hear the
Interesting.
like I hear
I don't think
that
they want to be on
institutions are
public
demanding
blockchains.
privacy, but I think once a stockholder converts their equity into a tokenized form, they're going to absolve DTCC or other institutions of any regulatory liability for protecting that asset. I think once you withdraw it out of the existing system and you deposit it into a tokenized system, the regulatory landscape is going to be much more hands-off and much less protective of the consumer. And that's what the Democrats are arguing for. They're saying, oh, well, we still want consumer protections even when equities and assets are brought on chain.
Yeah, I'm just saying the institutions want the private block space, I think. And I think this is a step in the right direction. And like just like the general cross chain flow is is pretty bullish. But I hear what you're saying. It's like they want to have the best possible chain partners, the best possible infra stacks, and it's not going to be these newer token launches that are brand new. They don't have much Lindy, and they also are going to want like a very select, like let's just say feature set, and it might not just be privacy, it might not just be one thing. So, Rob, I think we close out Starknet here. We go right back. Any just kind of closing thoughts, Rob, on the Coinbase base announcements yesterday, or just anything else that we talked about? And let's close this thing out, and we'll get Brad up here.
Absolutely. I think Coinbase is doing what Facebook tried to do and failed with the Libra project. I think for a long time, this convergence between social and financial, people saw it coming. And I think Facebook saw it coming back then. I think we're seeing it with a lot of the on-chain native social. I think Coinbase sees it too. And they see the creator economy as this blossoming industry.
The hyper-financialization of everything. And
hyper-financialization.
The creator economy. Those are two trends that are just going to boom. And yeah,
more and more. There's also this concept of neo media, like YouTube. People are buying things on TikTok and Instagram. I would love to see like Christmas shopping in 2025 versus like 2020 and 2015. We know that there was this massive migration online. People started shopping online rather than go to stores. That happened in the early 2010s. Now we're seeing it. It's not quite online. People are going to like, a website. They're doing their shopping directly from Instagram, TikTok, and these things. And I think Coinbase sees this. A lot of the social media companies see this, and they're trying to close the distance between the creator and the consumer.
And Rob, I mean, I think it's this creator flywheel. Let's get Brad up to talk creator flywheel, base app, Coinbase app. Rob, you gonna stick around, or you gotta run?
Yeah, no. Brad's the homie. I wanna chat to Brad, and then after I'll dip
cool,
when
man.
Brad leaves. But
thanks for joining us today, sir.
I think it's also important.
It's been a journey for you.
Brad has been a massive help. We obviously launched one of the most popular mini apps on Base.
Dude, we had a shout out from David yesterday, by the way, the product guy.
Yeah, David's a legend. I've been following him for a long, long time. I went to Vermont to Base Camp. I met up with Brad on his at his invite. And we had a tremendous presentation where we basically unveiled Control the Stream to a group of content creators that were there at Basecamp. And lo and behold, we've had thousands of people not just use the app, but thousands of people have started to earn from the app.
Dude, that is what the whole pitch was yesterday. Let's get Brad up. Jesse was yelling about earning yesterday. He will just keep yelling about earning. We will yell about earning. It is all about earning for the creators in the creator economy. Bradley Freeman, welcome to the show, man. I know it's been a busy day for you, last 24 hours.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Wow, you're taking all my material, talking about all the great stuff we're doing.
Yeah, man, you're crushing. How was the Genius Bar? How was the event yesterday? I mean, I felt like I was there, Brad. Fun. I was like in the mix. I was talking to Alex. He called in right before it started. How was it, man?
It was so much fun. It was in Fort Mason in San Francisco, and it was such a cool group of people to be at this event. I'm sitting next to me. There's folks from various financial institutions from across the organization at Coinbase. And I just think it's crazy that you have in the same room, we're talking about prediction markets, Coinbase for Business, and tokenized creator capital markets, all in the same place. So it was really a really physical representation of all the exciting stuff that's happening on Coinbase and on Base.
Yeah, man. I mean, the stream was just electric yesterday, guys. Like it was just Alex called, and then Luke calls in from his car in the parking lot right before he starts, and he's firing. And I download the Mamo. I was like a AI powered yield app. I put like $5 in it. He's fired up. Then he goes out there, and there was just clapping every 5 minutes, Brad. It was just like the energy seemed palpable. Yeah, man. I mean, how does it feel after now? How does the team morale feel? What's just kind of generally any reflections?
Yeah, I think everyone's really excited. It's been a long and intense year. We're right around the corner from the holidays, so this is a great way to go out. I think a lot of folks, myself included, are like crawling to the finish line. But when you have the big payoff moment like yesterday, energy surges back, the adrenaline gets you going, and it's just a reminder of how much more exciting stuff there is to do. I was just thinking yesterday, like, we're recording content in the venue with the European kid who recently launched his creator coin on the Base app, and I'm just like thinking how wild it is that we have folks like him and you guys, like streamers, TikTokers, YouTubers, like you name it, discovering and using the Base app to create and earn. What's really surprised me is how quickly creators really get it, right? Like people intuitively understand that what they create is valuable and that their contributions to so many social media platforms actually like drive real revenue. And so many creators are also like more than just creators. You guys are a good example of this, right? You have the show, but you're also literally like innovating at the bleeding edge of crypto and live streaming. The European kid is another example. He was showing folks on our team yesterday this app he's built called Storytime that allows influencers to use their social capital to basically get free items from restaurants all over New York. So you go into like a coffee shop, they're signed up there, like, hey, I have a certain amount of local reach. I'll make a story about your stuff right now in exchange for like a sandwich. So it's just really exciting to see like social capital breaching into reality. Cool
idea.
Yeah, and it's just really exciting time. So again, just super excited.
Brad, you've got a hell of a career in social, TikTok, other platforms, Base now, working with creators for such a long time. I think that's kind of like the purpose of this of this call is just basically just I want to talk to you about what your experience is working with creators. And if there's creators out there who are listening, if there's builders listening, founders, just traders, speculators, what from your experience have you seen that makes a really successful creator through Base app, through other social platforms? I know it's a very high level question, and we'll get more into kind of like Base and exactly what's going on, but give us like the 30,000 foot view. It's December 18th, 2025. The creator economy has changed so much. Obviously, there's problems with monetization. There's problems with AI now, but there's a lot of opportunity as well. Talk to us about like the current creator economy and just kind of like what makes a creator, I guess, last in this market.
Yeah, it's a great question. The creator economy has evolved a lot from brands just, not so long ago asking, why do I even need an Instagram account for my business, to creators launching their own businesses or commanding equity in those same brands. So I think where we are in the long arc of the creator economy is more creators now than ever, and more people see that being a creator, creating content and publishing it on the internet is going to be part of how more and more people earn and make a living, whether that's supplemental income or increasingly like full-time. And I think this creatorpreneur archetype is really the one that excites me and excites us the most, because these are folks who are not just creating for the sort of creative fulfillment that doing so provides and expressing yourself, but also for the opportunities that come with publishing content online. I worked at TikTok during TikTok's rise to 1 billion users, and that was crazy that virality could now be democratized, right? So 5 years ago, as TikTok rose, now anyone, no matter if you have 1 million followers or 1 follower, could make a banger video and go viral and build an audience. So it really does feel like distribution and discovery has been democratized, but the final frontier is actually value capture and monetization. And that's where the Base app comes in, right? Like we know that I have a video myself that has 6 million views on TikTok. And in my private analytics, I can see that it's generated 36,000 hours of watch time, which is 4 years of watch time. So I'm like, okay, this clearly drove my one video drove at least 10 grand in ad revenue for ByteDance. So clearly my content, my profile is valuable. But how do I capture that value? And that's where blockchain and the Base app come in, right? We are downstream of figuring out sort of what's hot, and we help capture that value. And we're seeing creators do that now every single day. I think Gary Tan has been now posting on the Base app trading. So I think we're gonna see a lot more folks trying this out, and people waking up and realizing that followers are a vanity metric and real belief and markets for creators are the next frontier in the creator economy.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, creator coins are getting real traction now on Base. Rob, how many conversations have we had about whether we should launch a coin or not? I mean, it's I could go to a therapy session with Brad talking about launching a coin, because there's this stigma, Brad. Why are creator coins the right time? Why is it the right time for creator coins, creator monetization now? what signals tell you that there's a creator market that's going to work versus just kind of launching it and fading? I know this is like a not a great vibe question, but like these are the things that creators think about who actually care about their image.
It's a great question. And brand like trust and the brands that creators have built is extremely sacred. And we have a lot of respect for that brand value that creators have built. So asking creators or inviting them to use our product and to launch their own creator coin, it is a big deal. But I think we also do things differently than others who have tried this in the past have done. For example, for us, it's really not so much about the launch or the day one of your coin, but it's really about the day two and beyond. It's funny because we say on base, it's always day one, but like for creator coins, it's really actually about like days 2 and beyond. How are you going to grow distribution? How are you going to distribute value to your real fans and to traders? And how are you going to really like think long term about having your own coin? So that's where we spend a lot of our time. I think another thing that we do differently, or I think that we think about differently than others have tried in the past, is we really try and differentiate between the creator-fan relationship and the creator-trader relationship. So where a lot of folks go wrong is they say, oh, I'm going to sell this to my fans, right? We're going to tell you, hey, you launch this coin, tell your fans to buy it. And no creator wants their fans to lose money, right? But just like sports betting, there are people who love the game and there are people who love betting on the game. And there's, a mix of the two. And so we really do differentiate, right? There's a creator-trader relationship that has not really existed before, that, creating on the Base app and distributing your coins across the Base ecosystem introduces creators to. And then separately, there's the creator-fan relationship. And so I'm really excited for next year, especially, to find more ways for creators to understand who their fans are, recognize and reward them, and give away their coins. I think that's actually going to be a potentially really effective way to onboard new people, right? A creator that you love, trust, and respect says, hey, you've been a fan of mine. I want to give you some of my creator coin if you can prove that you've taken the actions I care about, like following me on various socials or buying my products. And then if someone onboards and gets, playing with their, funds that were given to them that they earned, it's very different than spending your own money. Maybe you'll sell and do your first transaction. Maybe you'll hold. Maybe you'll start doing both. I'm really excited for that. The loyalty program of the creator economy, the loyalty ramification of creators, to unfold on the Base app as well.
Yeah, this is something that I'm particularly excited about. I think for a long time, really up until now, we haven't had a very strong value proposition of building the creator fan relationship with a token. It almost seemed like the creator token was a speculation vehicle, and that's exactly what traders want. Creators were able to monetize when they had motion. They were able to get trading fees from these traders, but there wasn't a lot of value that they could then bring the fans as a means through this token. What I'm hearing you get at is that it's almost like we're using the traders to speculate. They want something to speculate on. We're giving them that access, but then we're turning around and we're sharing that value with the fans. And we're getting really creative about how we can bring value to the fans. This look like loyalty programs. It looks like airdrops. It looks like all these things. Have you guys thought internally about what you can do with the fans, and generally, like what are some of the things that really resonate with creators when you're talking to them about creator coins? Is it more as a financial fundraising vehicle, or is it more like you can share wealth and share value with your fans, or what can you do for your fans? What are some of the light bulb moments that you've seen with creators?
So there's really like three big challenges that creators face that we think blockchain can solve and that the Base app and creator coins contribute to. Those three things are like the big challenges creators face. Number one is they don't capture the value of their core product, which is the content they create and the accounts they create them on every day. The second is creators don't know who their fans are or the nature of their relationship with those fans, because that data is A, not shared with them, and B, it's fragmented across multiple platforms, right? Like you guys don't know right now who follows you on YouTube and X and has, followed you on the Base app, right? So helping creators understand who their fans are and the nature of their relationship is a huge challenge that we can solve. And then the third one is access to capital, right? And funding. Creators, you cannot walk into a bank and get a loan against your future YouTube ad revenue, even if you're more consistent than a lot of traditional businesses. But there are companies that are built on Base that do this now. You can actually get a loan. So access to capital, like these are the challenges we can face. And I think especially on the loyalty one, that one is the one that's most exciting. Like to me, the way we actually win creators is we'll get your attention by making you money in a new way, but we'll get your interest when we show you something you've never seen before. And that is, who are all your fans, who follows you on these platforms, and now you have a direct relationship with them that cannot be taken away. We think that'll be really powerful, and those two things will actually help bring more credibility to creators, such that they can get more access to capital and they have more ways to prove their value than just how many followers they have, which most folks recognize at this point is more of a vanity metric than a real measure of, you know, the passion and quality of your community.
I love it. So it's the organization of people to like this 1,000 true fans is this common marketing term of like creating your 1,000 true fans and doing it with financialization or like creating that relationship is very, very, very beneficial. And Brad, I think that there's something interesting here where content used to be kind of, let's say, it wasn't as abundant as it is now. And so you could actually do a lot of private, paywalls for content. You could do a lot of these types of things. And that business model still exists, but very much so more now than ever, content is meant to be free. Like content is free. There's so much of it. People expect it to be free. Consumers expect it to be free. And so that is the problem that I talked to David about yesterday, where it's like creators have this creator flywheel problem, where it's like they can't really get that monetization going without ad revenue, sponsorships. And it's still kind of like this consistent flywheel problem. Talk to us about the Base app. Now that it's live in the public, we are ripping this holiday campaign, guys. By the way, there's a link in the YouTube description, guys. Please download the Base app. I am running this Base app holiday campaign. I don't know what place I'm going to get. I don't know how much this $2 million cut I'm going to get, but I'm going for it. So guys, sign up below real quick. It's on the Base app. It's in the YouTube description. Anyway, Brad, talk to us about how the Base app is going to help that creator monetization flywheel really kick off. We talked about creator coins. I know that that's a big part of it. What is your creator economy vision on Base as the lead of the creator economy here? The app's open, millions of users waitlisted are now on. This thing is about to get bigger and bigger. What is your creator economy flywheel vision for 2026? We'll love to hear about some of your goals, targets, that type of stuff.
Yeah, great question. And yeah, you touched on something very important, which is like how content is now created and how much more content is created than there used to be, especially with the advent of AI. So in terms of how I organize, like where do we fit in here? Like what is Base app's right to be here in the creator economy? It's, we are not a better app today, at least, to create original content, right? You're better off using Sora or Grok or the native creation tools at Instagram and TikTok. And we're also not yet, at least, the best place to build your audience from scratch, right? If you are a new creator, like you should post on TikTok, you should post on Instagram and YouTube and X. But where we have a real right to win is on the monetization. The same way that TikTok and these other platforms have democratized virality, we are democratizing how creators earn, because you don't need a certain follower count or achievement level to start earning. You can start earning potentially from your very first post. And so I see our place in the creator economy as this new layer, right? We have content creation tools and AI. We have distribution and discovery tools with like traditional social, and we have new like value capture and monetization tools that can live and on-chain has an unfair advantage in. And so what that means to make that a reality is we have to make it easier for creators to bring their best content over, and we have to meet creators where they are. I think one example of this that we haven't talked a ton about yet, but you'll hear about more, is the ability to actually cross-post your TikToks and Instagram Reels into the Base app via an integration we'll be sharing more about soon. I think you guys may be early users of this, right? But the whole idea is creators don't want yet another app, like the 10th or nth app to post videos to, but they do want the benefits of the Base app. So we've met them where they are, and now you can automatically sync and cross-post your videos. And so I think that's a good example of us understanding our right to be here and meeting creators where they are. Where it leads us for 2026 and sort of the vision is, people ask us like, what types of creators are we focused on? And the answer is we're focused on those who make high quality content. And the best part about that is that's not limited to large creators. There are tons of small accounts, medium accounts, large accounts, and mega accounts that make great content. And the Base app really can serve all of them. One of my favorite things is that there are really two types of creators that are totally slept on that we think we have a real shot at winning and really helping advance and accelerate their careers as creators. The first is what we call aspiring earners. These are smaller creators who are not yet monetizing. I'm actually a good example of this myself, where I have like 5,000 followers on TikTok.
Yes, sir, Brad.
10,000. Yeah, you know, I've made some bangers. I've
Yes,
proven I'm
sir.
capable, but I'm not earning a dime on traditional social, but I am earning on the base app. And so there's a lot of folks like me who fall in that boat. The other one though is we call them undervalued overseas creators, creators who
Mm,
the traditional ads model does not serve well. So if you are
mm,
a creator in sub-Saharan Africa or Nigeria, your CPMs on your YouTube videos for the
mhm.
same content, same niche, same follower size, everything, it's like 10 to 1, meaning
Yeah.
you have to do 10 times the viewership of like an American counterpart creator because advertising doesn't serve you that well, or you're just excluded entirely from monetization, right? If you're the biggest creator in Mexico and Canada, does not earn a dime from the TikTok Creator Fund and RevShare. So there's just this
Wow.
huge group of people who are completely excluded from monetization, who are like completely undervalued. So we're gonna like completely moneyball the situation and scoop up all this town, get them on the base app,
I
and
like
get
it.
them posting and earning in totally new ways.
And Brad, Jesse shouted out. Do you remember the creator's name yesterday that he shouted out on the presentation? It was
Oh,
my
Naomi,
not yep,
Naomi
Naomi.
Metzger, yeah.
I think she is from where is she from? I just saw her Twitter today, but she was a perfect example of this undervalued overseas
Yeah,
creator.
totally, yeah, and she's an Olympian, huge athlete, and like really well versed in all of the different tools. So, she's a great example. Another one is Nikki from Miami. These are both creators who are like early to the base app. I think we showed some of them on the stream as well.
Yep.
But the roster of talent of people who have launched their creator coins and who have, there's like and people who have created, started posting, but have not yet launched is actually insane. So I
Mm.
would encourage people to go check out the feed. You'll see more and more of your favorite creators in there, people you might not expect. And I think that's maybe the thing I want to stick to, like mention the most, is that so many creators see what happens in crypto. They have this terrible,
Oh yeah.
feeling. They hear the horror stories of things
Oh
going
yeah.
wrong. So really, it's a real uphill battle. But what we're finding is that trust, and that really is what Coinbase offers, is really high quality trust, not just trust with our products, but with the people like who are on our creator team who work with these creators. Like we have that confidence from them. People who would never touch crypto or never try anything are willing to try things with us. And I think a big part of it's not just because of the Coinbase brand, but it's also because of how thoughtful and seriously we take who we work with. I mean, how we collaborate. We know that there's a very high burden and that people are looking for us to slip up. So the bar and the scrutiny is very high. And I'm happy to say that, I think we've launched at least, over a dozen creator coins, and they've all been pretty healthy, and pretty exciting. The creators have been pretty happy. So we're going to try and keep that momentum going into 2026 and really scale it up.
Brad Freeman, the creator ecosystem lead at Base. Thanks for joining us. Congrats on the launch yesterday. I know it's been an absolute journey internally for the last 6 months, really like the last year plus to get this thing out. Shout out to you for the controller stream idea and thought process and getting this thing started. It's a new day one. It's the first day of
It's a new
Base
day
app being
one.
public.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I'll see you on the base app. I'll go send you some tips.
All right, Brad. All right, guys, quick
Perfect.
standby. We'll be right back.
Cheers.
Thanks, Brad.
He
Yeet is built for big moments, the most fun you'll ever have with your crypto. Go to yeet.com to yeet into your next game.
Not your keys, not your coins. From the team that pioneered cold storage, Trezor has just released its new wallet. Guys, if you are still using hot wallets in 2025, 2026, you are missing the entire point. Secure your coins. Get a Trezor at trezor.io.
Go anywhere on chain instantly with Relay.link. Relay is closing in on $10 billion transferred. Go to Relay.link to bridge your assets now.
Money shouldn't wait for Mondays. Following its real upgrade, Polygon is now one of the fastest chains for stablecoin transfers and payments. Visit Polygon Technology to learn more.
Kalshi is the world's largest prediction market. You can trade on anything in all 50 states. Go to kalshi.com to trade today.
Talk to AI like your lawyer or your doctor or your therapist. Yours, private, and here today. Visit near.ai to have a fully private chat experience.
Hibachi is fast and private perps trading, secured by ZK with Celestia underneath. Go to hibachi.xyz to start trading today.
Looking for yield that stands out? Infinify gives you just that. Deposit stablecoins and earn far more than the current savings rate. Infinify is a battle-tested, reliable DeFi platform that is ready to go. Head to infinify.xyz.
Halliday is unified crypto payments. Give your users more wherever they are. Go to halliday.xyz to never write a smart contract again.
Open, stable, borderless. Frax is building the next generation of stablecoin infrastructure for the digital finance era. Visit frax.com to learn more today.
Yeet is built for big moments. The most fun you'll ever have with your crypto. Go to yeet.com to yeet into your next game.
Not your keys, not your coins. From the team that pioneered cold storage, Trezor has just released its new wallet. Guys, if you are still using hot wallets in 2025, 2026, you are missing the entire point. Secure your coins. Get a Trezor at trezor.io.
Go anywhere on-chain instantly with Relay.link. Relay is closing in on $10 billion transferred. Go to Relay.link to bridge your assets now.
Money shouldn't wait for Mondays. Following its real upgrade, Polygon is now one of the fastest chains for stablecoin transfers and payments. Visit Polygon Technology to learn more.
Kalshi is the world's largest prediction market. You can trade on anything in all 50 states. Go to kalshi.com to trade today.
Talk to AI like your lawyer or your doctor or your therapist. Yours, private, and here today. Visit near.ai to have a fully private chat experience.
Hibachi is fast and private perps trading, secured by ZK with Celestia underneath. Go to hibachi.xyz to start trading today.
Looking for yield that stands out? Infinify gives you just that. Deposit stablecoins and earn far more than the current savings rate. Infinify is a battle-tested, reliable DeFi platform that is ready to go. Head to infinify.xyz.
Halliday is unified crypto payments. Give your users more wherever they are. Go to halliday.xyz to never write a smart contract again.
Open, stable, borderless. Frax is building the next generation of stablecoin infrastructure for the digital finance era. Visit frax.com to learn more today.
Yeet is built for big moments. The most fun you'll ever have with your crypto. Go to yeet.com to yeet into your next game.
Not your keys, not your coins. From the team that pioneered cold storage, Trezor has just released its new wallet. Guys, if you are still using hot wallets in 2025, 2026, you are missing the entire point. Secure your coins. Get a Trezor at trezor.io.
Go anywhere on-chain instantly with Relay.link. Relay is closing in on $10 billion transferred. Go to Relay.link to bridge your assets now.
Money shouldn't wait for Mondays. Following its real upgrade, Polygon is now one of the fastest chains for stablecoin transfers and payments. Visit Polygon Technology to learn more.
Kalshi is the world's largest prediction market. You can trade on anything in all 50 states. Go to kalshi.com to trade today.
Talk to AI like your lawyer or your doctor or your therapist. Yours, private, and here today. Visit near.ai to have a fully private chat experience.
Havachi is fast and private perps trading, secured by ZK with Celestia underneath. Go to havachi.xyz to start trading today.
Looking for yield that stands out? Infinite. Welcome back to another episode of Stabled Up, our premier weekly show covering the ins and outs of digital dollars, stablecoins, and the future of decentralized finance.
The show is made possible.
Hey, alrighty guys, we got Stablecoin Year in Review with Stablewatch founders ready to go. Welcome back to Stabled Up, our premier weekly stablecoin show powered by Frax Finance, our lovely partners. We've known Sam for 4 years, been working with them, big Frax fans. They're doing great work with their genius compliant stablecoins and more. Let's get our guys Halko and Piotr up, the founders of Stablewatch, and we're gonna go over the year in review, Stablecoins Year in Review 2025. Stoked on this one, fun holiday episode here. So we'll bring them up now and let's get this party started, guys.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure. Let's go ahead and get them up, and we will get the party started. Leo, all right. All right, boys, you're live. Welcome to the Rollup TV Stablecoins Year in Review 2025. Halko, Piotr of Stablewatch, guys, you've built an amazing platform. Your data is amazing. Your work's great. You do great work. Stoked to have you guys on. Boys, you're brothers. How did this start? How did this happen? How did you guys build Stablewatch? What's your backgrounds? Talk to us about kind of what happened here and how you got to Stablewatch and a bit about the origin story, guys. Welcome on.
Sure, yeah, very happy to be here. Thank you for having us, and a big fan of the show. So, yeah, really glad to be here. Yeah, TLDR, like last year, I've been managing some small fund with a friend. I've been more on the venture side of it, and Philip, Yavor, Alan, big thanks to you. The guys did amazing work on the liquid side. We closed off the position last December, and we started looking into ways how to utilize the profits with stable coins and just get less risk exposure with our portfolio. And this is the time I find out that the space is not saturated yet. So early this year, there was not that big of a market cap for the whole category. However, people really wanted to get exposure into stablecoin somehow, because we had this acquisition of Bridge by Stripe, and this also, those yield-bearing stablecoin category was somehow a proxy to get exposure into all of that. This is how I perceive it. However, what's been lacking was until we launched Stablewatch was the data around all this kind of products. That's one thing. And the other is risk profile of those. And while we're not telling directly if we think that this or other coin is AAA or triple B, we still try to help people understand what are the risk areas associated with each of this type of assets. And early this year, everybody been thinking about like stable coins as like one very broad big category. This is not what we think. And also now regulators in US, they also made this distinction between payment stable coins, so the ones which are not sharing any interest with its users, like USDC or USDT, the two giants, but there are many more of those, and the yield-bearing products. And are those stable coins actually? And you can argue about that. Definitely, those projects would like to call themselves stable coins, but not all of them are. There's a lot of regulatory arbitrage actually, and there's like much more nuance into it. Regulators also seen it. That's why the Genius Act is actually talking rather only about the payment ones. And the
So Sam from Frex, he's laid this out so many times on the show. He's probably been on 3 or 4 times. Like, there's 2 types of stable coins. There's the Genius compliant now, and like there's like these yield bearing ones. And so it's very clear that that's happening. We're gonna get the history of the year in review for yield bearing up here shortly. Halko, I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself, give your side of the story. How did Stablewatch come about? You and your brother. Who's the smarter one? Who's the more business savvy one? Who gets more chicks? Talk to us about what's going on here.
Oh yeah, so like nice to meet you guys. So I think TLDR is I think for clarity, Piotr is the founder man, so he does all the kind of like flag and hard work, right? We are literally like shouting at him in internal chats, and that's our role as usual. And for me, I have been like doing full-time DeFi since like 2021, and before that I was doing FX and rights for like emerging markets in a huge institution. So went from trading illiquid stuff to trading highly speculative illiquid stuff, so it's like one another. And obviously once you used to do finance in the past, it still chases you. So sooner or later you realize that everything we do here are various reskins or kind of like various takes on some old concept of finance that we'll try to solve under new constraints. Right, because what blockchain gave us was insane transparency and insane speed, but at some trade-offs, and this was basically very interesting thing. So throughout like the few years, I was lucky to work on a few projects, and we like all the crazy things. It started completely randomly, which means he wanted to move from the Telegram channel to more like data, and then we started to dig into data. And then at some time we realized that, hey, actually we have more data than anyone else, just through like, pure force of like sheer will, So it was like a very Nietzschean thing, I would say.
Dude, Robbie and I met at the University of Florida. He's not here in university, and I had a bit of like a marketing background, and we just got on a call one day, and we were like, dude, we should start a podcast. This was like April 2020. And then we just filmed our first show, and then the rest is kind of history. So it's awesome. It starts small, and then you realize you get this edge in data, as you're saying, Halko, and you guys have a lot of desire, and obviously you get the point of what we're doing here. You've been here for 4 or 5 years now. You personally, at least, so you see the vision, the value. So guys, thanks for being here. Let's kick this off. Year in review. Let's start with yield bearing stable coins, guys. Piotr, you did a great job there explaining kind of how they work and how they're a little bit regulatorily different than Genius compliant stablecoins. They've obviously caught a huge bid. I mean, January, we started at $7.5 billion in total supply, TVL for top yield-bearing stablecoins. We topped out in November, just after kind of the whole 10-10 thing, about 21 billion there, just slightly down closer to the 20 billion mark now. I mean, guys, what a year, 3x or so on yield-bearing stablecoin supply. What are your, reactions here? Leo, if you scroll down just a bit, you can actually see the stablecoin names and the colorings. But Piotr, kick us off here. Did you expect this? What led this? Why did we see a 3x in yield-bearing stablecoins supply, given that we had a rate-cutting year this year with the Fed? We had different kind of quantitative tightening from the macro level. That's come to an end, but clearly there has been demand for these assets. Talk to us about what happened this year.
Yeah, so yeah, we definitely like expected it because this like amazing category, and we realized it's pretty much earlier than a lot of people in the market. That's why we've bet with all of this data and research on this category. And I don't know how many times I've heard it in this space, but we're very early, I believe, with this yield bearing space, as all of the credits and this type like private credit, like CLOs, this type of instruments, I believe they're going to be tokenized in the next few years. And there's a lot of push for the threat-free players to actually come on chain. Everybody from the big names is not even experimenting. They actually like having the departments which are working heavily on coming and tokenizing stuff. So this is happening already. So I assume that we got still really a lot of upside when you look at TF at the total market. And what happened is even slightly before this year, we had only two players really focus on the category. So Sky, but before the rebranding, so still as a maker with Savings Die, and then Ethena. And the as Die, actually, Savings Die been really great product, worked for quite some time, but not so many people been interested about it. But then a lot of hype came when Ethena guys tokenized the delta neutral trade, right? We've seen a lot of investors being like killing each other to get into the round, etc. And at that point of time, that was big alpha, which could be tokenized, and actually the yields at the beginning of SUSD been very, very high and relatively risk adjusted, to say, if you compare to like whatever other options you had in the DeFi market at that point. But over the time, what the biggest unlock for growing the category being definitely those two projects, which showed a lot of people that people are interested in just having their stablecoins being put to work and get some yield, right? That maybe they don't want to have like ETH exposure, or at least not directly, and they feel much more safe if the asset is somehow associated with having this peg or whatever kind of support at around $1 level, right? So that being it. And the other trigger, actually, as I said earlier, being the bridge acquisition by Stripe. So people realize, hey, I can't really get exposure into the stablecoin space anyhow. What I can do to calm and get some yield, whatever, how I can get exposure. And I believe this is why we've seen this growth. And if you look at this chart, you're gonna see that actually like big part of it is the marked as other YBSs, because beside like 3x growth when it comes to the TVL at the moment, we also experience, I think, like 30x or even more growth of projects which are like providing such services. So at the beginning of the year, they've been few, and I remember I like did some research and made like Excel file. I found more than 100 of them in April. Like this post really boomed on Twitter, and from that time still each month you can see quite few projects, new projects come to the space. Most of them are actually replicating models which are not scalable, not safety either. So there's a lot of stuff which would be really
and we saw different events shape this market this year, right? Like for example, Sky just launched their OBEX incubator. That's probably going to shape the trajectory of their growth next year. Athena had that hard-coded 10-10 event where had Aave not saved their ass and Binance not have screwed them over probably in some way, the whole market structure would look different for them. And they got a big TVL decrease from that as well. And just kind of seeing a lot of sentiment readjusting. Halko, from your side, with the more specific teams here, I'm going to put you on the spot a bit here. Where do you expect the majority of growth to come from the SUSDS, SUSD, Buildo, Syrup USDC, or USYC, or others? Kind of where are you placing your bets for growth for 2026 based on what happened this year in 2025? And just any other thoughts to add on to Piotr there?
No, I would say as follows. It depends whenever we are going to look into DeFi and having more yield from DeFi, or are we going to look into external sources? I think because I think Ethena has been the flagship trade for the past 2 years, right? Literally, Ethina went from being called with very dubious names, I will not quote here, into being the biggest, thing in DeFi. And when and it's worth maybe jumping back to some kind of like DeFi archaeology. So Ethina has been the flagship, you could say, delta neutral or like the basis trade. So the guys were insanely smart enough to realize that you have lots of free food on the table. You can tokenize and you can grow because the rates have been very, very easy to farm and to get insane yield over the risk rate. So any risk taking was really worth it. And if you remember, guys, if you have been here before, let's say 2022 and 2023 early on, when GMX was the biggest perp platform, they have their tokenized LP position that some people also tried to build delta neutral about. They all blew up.
Yeah, GLP, RIP, man.
Yeah, because all the delta neutral
there.
strats on GLP, they all started to lose money. So it was very interesting to see how people are going to extract money from delta neutral this year. I was like very curious to see if and when and how. But what was interesting is that Ethina basically said, hey, we have found the alpha, which was hidden. They made it public and they let it grow insanely high. Which means if we discover any new source and we manage to mine this source of alpha from any new source in DeFi, then I think it's up to Ethina, up to anyone else to once again find it, tokenize, let it grow. Right.
All right. He's on Team Ethina. How could Team Ethina bull? I'm gonna just fade that completely. I did miss the Ethina seed round. They didn't let me in, so I as an investor, I must FUD them. I must go with the Buildle, BlackRock's Buildle, and Securitize. I think that's gonna absolutely explode next year. And then I would actually go with the USDS. I think OBEX is going to come through. We've been having the framework guys on every couple of weeks, and they've just been sky pilling me till nonstop. Now, that would be my take.
Yeah, sky pilling is great, and I think sky pilling is like the best of both worlds because Sky, if you look into Sky is actively managed, and Sky team is coded, which means most likely if you don't want to chase good stuff, Sky team is doing that for you. Right, so you see, and it's like a completely transparent that you can see Sky spec in real life, and you can see where the guys were at. And quite often, the Sky team is in the hot safe stuff before anyone else, and that's very interesting, right? But then when we think about off-chain assets, this is like very something you can like talk for hours about, because technically we are porting real life yield onto blockchain, which is super cool. But we are still very early, and right now the cost of doing so is still expensive. When you look inside, the cost of setting up things, tokenizing, the level of expenses is crazy high. So if this continues to grow, if consumer says we want faster, better, cheaper, more transparent, everyone wins. And I think if we want for this sector to win, we also need to kind of like tell guys, we like it, but you want more transparent and cheaper. And then suddenly you basically open that and like democratize access to lots of like instruments to the people.
Well, that's why I like these neobank plays. I like the Plasma one thing before the chart went down 95%. I am an investor in that one. That feels bad, man. It feels still up somehow, but feels bad. Kraken, Coinbase, all these kind of neobank apps, they get that democratization of access to stable coins globally. And like now they're doing with tokenized equities. It's just going to keep growing, guys. So this is yield-bearing stablecoins supply. We're going to switch to the heat map because I'm a little bit confused as to what's going on with this heat map. So we're going to have to ask our local risk manager, Halko here, and founder of Stablewatch, Piotr, about this heat map coming up. But yeah, I mean, guys, it's clear that the yield-bearing stablecoin supply is going to grow next year, and we'll see where we end up. I would expect 100 billion to be in sight, to be honest.
Yeah, so let's switch to the okay, we're waiting. Yeah, we have it. So as you can see, there's like one huge winner, and really easy to spot it. And we'll add, I would need to add something to what Halko said about Ethina. It's like the strategy is great. However, it's like pretty much the alpha is over. Too many people at the moment are like
spicy take,
right? So I think Ethina guy is definitely going to come up with some new ideas. There's strata, new tranche products. So the team is doing great. However, like this strategy not going to provide the same kind of returns as it used to. And you can just see it at any other ecosystem which don't have SUSDE deployed. They always have some local option. Some smaller team going to do it. but the yield is never at the same level as when SUSD been launched.
Yeah,
This is
man,
one
and
thing.
their converged chain too, man. I mean, at terminal shut down, there's like this terminal Dex. I don't know if you guys saw that. They announced that they were shutting down Converge. I haven't heard much from that. That was supposed to be like the Athena securitized chain. I don't know, man. I'm not one to stomp on any graves. I think Athena's going to do great, but I hear what you're saying, Piotr. It's the 10-10 just kind of shook a lot of people out of that perps farming trade. I think the perps farming was super active, and I think it shook a lot of people's boots about Athena. We'll see their comeback and if they can create more alpha. Obviously, SUSD 791% here, Bildle 200%, Syrup 2,500%. What are we looking at here? It's an overview of yield-bearing stablecoins market leaders, showing supplies and color-coded 365-day supply change indicators. Okay, gotcha.
But the thing is worth adding here, it's all apples and oranges, right? Because yield-bearing stable coins is a gigantic bucket. You can throw in lots of things. It's kind of like saying fixed income or like bonds are like one thing, and obviously you look inside and everything is different. So very quickly we realized, right, and we kind of like came with like all the categories of, you could say, yield-bearing stables. Technically lots of those even themselves, they do not market themselves as yield-bearing stables, but more of like tokenized yield assets, because they both say we may not necessarily be stable. Some of our principal may be at risk because we are doing risk kind of like risk taking within some frontiers, right? So lots of those things should be a little bit volatile by design. The same thing, you look into TradFi, you look into all those like bond ETFs, credit ETFs. They all are volatile. They all change over time. They mostly go up, sometimes not, right? And with yield-bearing stables, how to call them, we also have the same, right? That where you may see yield-bearing stable A offering 4% and B offering 8%, but you need to answer right what's inside, right? So technically, looking into the most flagship thing, right? One of those could be some kind of like very safe wrapper of either like off-chain assets and maybe safe positions. Something else could be a black box. So you may have more black boxes, but they're like more tested. So the famous Athena, what we mentioned, or you may have actually like evil black boxes. So the infamous stream, right, which ended horribly, and it's as you even said yourself, right, with those black boxes come great risks because lots of assets we can price on chain and real life. Those strategies face lots of new problems because, once again, think about TradFi. You run a fund, you have fund units, you report your NAV once a day, once a week, once a month maybe. Now think about Athena and peers of Athena, which are also tokenized strategies. You are either subject to reporting live, which is impossible, or you try to still report your actual holdings once a day, once a week. And that's where this problem that you describe in Aave comes from, where you may have a divergence between the book value or like the actual market value of the product and the market expectations, right? Which means if Athena hadn't been kind of like hard coded, it would have repriced under the market panic and could have exactly triggered a big spiral. Some protocols like Aave went with like hard coding the price, thinking we believe into kind of like book asset value, and whatever happens, happens. But this is a massive trade-off, and this is a massive challenge. And I think if this is misused, we will all also pay the price. So we have to like be very, very careful.
Yeah, it's DeFi after all, isn't it? It's supposed to be permissionless. Yeah, Piotr, add there.
Yeah, so when you look at this chart, one thing to add is when you manage like any money, like one of the things you should care about is the concentration risk. And why Athena is experiencing this drawdown in the TVL quite massive is because the whole yield is coming only from one source. So this trade, right, on the exchanges, the basis trade, and then there's a neutral position. And kind of people who are using all those products, those are pretty much sophisticated people who are here in DeFi for quite some time because, hey, we don't have any new real users for the last few months probably. And those people know that they don't want to lose money. And the only option to diversify your portfolio and be pretty much in secure spots with it is Sky, so SUSDS. And that's why you can see that at the moment, this is the biggest yield-bearing stablecoin. This is one thing. The other is that it experienced the most growth. And I think two factors add to it here. One is that the portfolio is really diversified. Actually, Sky used to allocate through Spark and Spark liquidity layers, so one of the sub-DAOs, into Ethereum, but they withdraw all of the positions when
before 1010.
Yeah. So before that and around that time, that's it. But it's not only in DeFi. Actually, we like work on the risk side with a lot of clients, and our stance is that DeFi at the moment it's not as scalable for really large capital. That's why what is happening, you can see that a lot of tokenized assets, but
CLOs and T-bills and treasury bonds and all these types of things, right? Sky's really pushing that with Grove and even with rates coming down, Piotr, now it's like T-bills were like the standard, like the set, like the one all be all US T-bills. But now it's like, well, rates coming down, we need to look at some CLOs and stuff as well. Guys, we're gonna flip to the yield paid out by yield-bearing stablecoins chart, but please, Piotr, please, because it finished.
Sure.
It aligns with this next chart.
So as you said, like Growth and like overall Sky is doing really great work when it comes to diversifying the portfolio and letting you as user in whatever part of the world, it can be Africa, where you can zero option to tap into US financial markets, and especially like credit to like large institutions. And Growth and Sky invested in JAAA, for example. And thanks to that, you can say that they're lending money to Burger King, for example. Not many people talking about it, but like really huge things happened this year in our space, mostly thanks to Sky. And this is pretty not like widely known what Sky is doing, because like DAOs are really hard to understand. If you're gonna look at Atlas, right, and all of those governance write-ups from the Sky, it's pretty complicated to comprehend all of that. So hint from our side, look and follow Stablewatch, and someone like Sky Learning Center maybe is coming to your home Q1. But when you're gonna look at the yield paid out, we cross like cumulative YPO for this year. This number for this year is like 135 mil, but from the start, so you could say 1.5 years, we already paid more than 1 billion of yield paid out. And you can think that it's a great number. My prediction also is that we're gonna cross that still this year with it. Actually, we had a market at Kalshi on that, so you can bet on this. Pretty cool. Feed with our data. And this is great for the space, but we go much higher. This is not even like 1% of what is paid out by TradFi institutions with any dividends or like payments out of like CLOs, whatever, lending, borrowing activity.
We're like still a small niche for like 100 people that's online, like when you think about it realistically, and we are literally like the alternative of the alternative solutions. So we may be thinking, well, like because I think it's worth remembering lots of us come from various backgrounds, and for like average person, anything beyond $1 million is a number hard to imagine. So especially like billion sounds impressive, but then you compare ourselves like the entire DeFi to still traditional managers, and we say, hey, I've got like 1 billion. Say, oh wow, that's so cool, like this like baby number. Call us like when you have like 20 billion, and then you realize like entire DeFi, like entire like stablecoin supply is still nothing, right, compared to a lot of things which like traditional finance. So assuming if we are believing that like blockchain is like a future rail, we are so early that when you think about these graphs about the scale, we are as much on the left as you can imagine, right? It's still everything is like in front of us. Yeah, like literally like very bullish. So
So the core trends here, guys, SUSD growth all the way through October 1010, then compression, other yield-bearing stables, slight growth, big growth, also compression, general growth and compression following the market. It's quite interesting how even though stable coins are stable coins and they're yield bearing stable coins are meant to be $1 and hold that value, they also kind of trend with the market. Like it was up a bit in Jan and then it kind of pulled back. As you can see, a slight pullback when the market pulled back into March. Bitcoin pulled back down to 75K or so. And then we rode it up to 125 into October. Stable coins, yield paid up, grow. Now we pull back a bit. This is a super left brain, like super smooth brain question, but what's happening here? Why is this happening?
I think, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Like,
okay, yeah.
Many things here going on.
Few factors, but like one of these probably is that we see that like with any wave of like new cool technology, there's a lot of like, helicopter money coming to this space. So if we see that topic is hot because the market condition is great, the more VC is also going to pump money into the market, the more projects of this kind going to come up with some additional incentives, etc. We actually at Stablewatch track only real yield. So whatever tab you can see here, this is only real yield. There's no like additional governance tokens or whatever. But still, a lot of users are coming to the space because of launches of those new products. They also want to earn points or whatever kind of another incentives. So this is the one stuff. And the other is that's it's just very much dependent on the market, as you say, before, or because it's still big part of this capital is coming from retail still. I would say that some part those are institutions. This capital is actually much more sticky at the moment, even if you could think that it's mercenary, because mercenary capital is always looking for the best risk adjusted option. So that's why it stays with Sky, for example. But retail is much more likely to move out and move in just based on emotions. And this is mostly what we are experiencing here in this chart. Maybe Halko, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, Halko, right before you do, I'm going to show you another chart that's going to allow you to tag team your thought here into the APY conversation. We'll flip this over into the APY chart. Talk to us about some of the risk-adjusted returns, why this chart emulates the crypto market, and then we'll kind of get into some of the risk-adjusted thought processes here.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
So please take add anything that you may. I don't mean to get in the way too much. I'm just trying to move it along. Keep showing as we can.
I think that's a great chart. I think something that makes a lot of sense when you look even at those both charts is we can literally see, right, that we mentioned different assets, different risk profile. Another thing that we saw in the previous chart is, remember, we are still a niche. And one of the things that we are offering here is regulatory arbitrage. So we still may allow people that weren't able to access institutional level of like products to access those finally, whether you are non-American or maybe you were like, maybe it's like American only, Europeans only, $100,000 up only. Very hard to get into the fund because of like regulation custodians, much easier to access. However, lots of things we see here is a flight to quality, and there's like levels of like margining, which means we need to remember that one of the biggest yield platforms right now is Pendle, that allows you to, and you have something like Euler Morpho. In very simple saying, you can leverage up on your stablecoins, which means whenever people are risk on, you see for the stablecoin supply to go up because people are willing to leverage up, right? Usually the risking moments of the risk are the same moments where people unwind their provision, burn the stable coins, because some stables are issued by providing capital with the other stables. So you have those layers of like wrapping, which is some form of like margining, right? And this way,
it's like rehypothecation, kind of.
Yeah, kind of, right?
Okay.
So that's why where people are risk off, they will be exiting their position, which means tokens are burned. If the tokens are burned, the supply goes down. When they are risk on, we can see this go up again.
Leave it to the Stablewatch risk manager to tell you to it like you're 5 years old. Piotr had me confused. He's like, oh, there's factors. And I'm like, dude, come on, tell me how it is. Okay, so then parlay that into the APY, right? So you're explaining how when the risk is on, the supply increases because looping, right? Pendle, Aave, Morpho, looping, etc. There's all these different types of opportunities available. Also, just more desire. I found that when speculation is high as well, guys, the rates to borrow on Aave go up, on Morpho go up, because people are willing to borrow stables to go get yield or to go buy more coins. And then when it goes down, it goes down. So then how do you think that impacted this chart here? Halko, talk to us about some of the APYs that you see here, how it kind of panned out this year as far as, what is this, the 30-day average APY compared to TVL?
One thing worth noting here is this is the net API without any tokens incentives, right? So no points here, no like token rewards. It like pure like dollar paid out. I think the most important thing is on one hand, we can see the APY. So worth answering like why some things are at like 3.5%, 4%, right? And why some are much higher. Another thing is if we go to the right, we see we have the logarithmic scale of the supply. And obviously we have one obvious huge big winner, which is SUSDS, because SUSDS is managed to keep the yield at like 4.5% ballpark, while being able to scale up to almost 10 bill, right? Lots of stables, they sometimes struggle to cross 1 bill, or as we see, so with like maybe with Ethina or maybe with Maple, right? You have this kind of like maximum level of scalability where then your alpha dries out and you cannot beat.
It's kind of like in meme coin trading, right, boys? It's like hard to break the one bill mark in the meme coin bull run of 2024. You know, sorry for the random injection there, but it's like you've got this 1 billion mark where what 5 stable coins couldn't get over this year. Yeah.
So for them, it's kind of like question of scalability, right? How much can you onboard without your yield compressing? And at the same time, we have assets like, for example, I think Build is like the most, I could say, obvious one that could be the ballpark of a risky rate. So at some time, you are thinking, do I want to enter into more risky endeavors? All right. Or should I just retreat into something that's a proxy for a risk-free proxy, because still, smart contract risk, middleman risk, but it's still some kind of like a safe park, right? And if suddenly your complex product maybe beats the risk-free rate at 50 bips, you need to start to think, is it worth it? Because it has been, and that's it. And once again, you see Sky, right, that has been outperforming the RFR tokens while being able to scale up to like 10 bill, which is huge feat. I think no one has done this.
And there's one important thing to add to this, I think, because almost no other venue got the same kind of guarantees for you as a user to make you feel safe. Because how the Sky's model work is that there's internal for the ecosystem, internal risk capital, you can call it junior risk capital, the junior trench, which stars or subDAOs need to put into work, so they can actually manage the Sky's balance sheet, right? And that means that the incentives are totally different from what you can see some curators in whatever kind of market like Morph or whatever else do. So I'm not telling those products are not great, but the incentives are just much different, because you could see what happened with the stream finance. And I think a lot of curators got like no understanding what's going on like behind it. Like we've been tweeting about it like for quite a long time that, hey, guys, you shouldn't really be aping into this. This looks pretty dangerous, actually, and you should be really careful looking into backing. But people didn't want to listen. And the incentive of such curator is just to max out the TVL. Incentive of those few parties which are managing the Sky balance sheet is different, because they put their own capital into work. That if they're gonna be misaligned, or they're gonna do not practical move and go too much ahead of the risk curve, their capital gonna be wiped out first, and then the system gonna close position, meaning that it's loose for them and hopefully not for users. And there is not system like this anywhere in this space besides Aave. Only Aave actually within the app recently made some like insurance fund, but I haven't like dig too deep into it, so still figure it out.
I think this is very interesting when you think of it. I think Sky is the kind of like biggest trailblazer of like forcing managers put put their neck and put their money on the line, which means Sky right now has the like sub-DAOs. You've got like Spark, Growth, OPEX, which means whenever any of the sub-DAOs is deploying money, they need to put their own capital on the line first. So so they cannot put depositors' money into a product without them being the first loss tranche, which means if they lose money, first they lose their own money, and only then everyone else gets hit. So you cannot be responsive. Many protocols do not do this, which we actually should change.
Yeah, can I ask you about that? Like Syrup USDC sitting there at 5.5%, well over the 2 bill mark ish. 1.8, 2.2 range looks like, because that's about where Buildle is, around that 2 point something range. What is the additional risk associated with Syrup USDC that allows it to have the 5.5% rate compared to the other, like the USDE and the USDS that are clearly a bit bigger but can't get the same average APY? Or even like what happened that created that outcome even? Yeah.
I think you can. I think the best answer would be for anyone looking into those products would be to read the documents, and people don't do this. But quite often you have to describe like properly, right, what is going on. Technically, right, Maple's idea is they have their own, you could say, in very simple terms, how to say this, they have their own internal curation system where they provide collateralized loans for trusted parties. So for you as a user, you basically trust them that they will be able to pass your money to the private borrowers that post collateral. And in general, you trust because they have been operating well in the past years. And you basically are betting that the skill of the team and the skill of the allocators and hopefully the skill of a legal department.
Trust me, bro. I mean, so we're just trust me brewing all over again here. Is that what's going on? I mean,
there is some degree, right? Which means there's this trade-off, right, between black boxing and openness, and this is the biggest challenge for 2026.
Yeah. One more thing for you guys here on this chart. Well, actually, first, I haven't ever heard of USYC. What is USYC? I never heard of the thing. I can look it up, but I'm curious if you guys.
Yeah, that's the tokenized money market fund. It's some product of Circle. So pretty much you got the TradFi exposure, kinda similar to if you'd invest into Beetle or whatever kind of asset which holds T-bills. So here it's not T-bills, yeah, money market funds. I would say similar bracket.
I should have known that. Circle's big one, huh? So they're growing that in addition to USDC. Okay, cool. I guess, guys, who do we expect to be leaders in this category next year? And I think in terms of APY, and I think the question's rooted in rates are coming down. Trump is bringing in a new Fed chair next year. The ECB just also said that they're adjusting for a rate cut cycle. These yield-bearing stables are going to need new forms of yield. However, as we discussed, when speculation is rampant and markets are doing well, yield is increased and the amount of expansion and supply also increases. And so when you get rate cuts, you also typically get market expansion because of liquidity injections, and generally people get more bullish. So I'm seeing a recipe here for like some pretty strong growth. Like we said, I think we get to maybe 100 billion in 2026 for total TVL. I think that'd be a massive win for yield-bearing stables. And then I guess the question is here, what's going to change in the yield component? What do we expect? Knowing that we're going to get a rate cut cycle, is that going to be reduced yield or increased yield? I kind of laid it out. I think there's multiple arguments to be made. And then who do we see really kind of rising to the creme of the creme here in terms of TVL and yield next year? Who would you guys be placing your bets on? Kind of two-part question.
Yeah, so I think really that the best position, because of just no concentration into one strategy or like one position, is Sky, and that the growth still gonna be like accelerating. As there's like few factors for it. There are going to be a lot of credit creation, right? Especially in the US, and like big, not only financial, but other kind institutions in US are looking always for more money. from X/Twitter to like Stripe and some others. They always look for new private credit lines to expand the business. This is how it's going, right? Like everybody wants to see S&P chart going up, so they need more money for this expansion, and this money definitely can be find in the US market from like legacy trade institutions. But I believe that some part of this money actually going to be funneled through amazing capital coordination place, which is crypto, and from places who can coordinate this in a good way, like Sky or like Maple actually, which also like provided a lot of great moves in like last years and growing in TVL into this private market. So private credit market definitely gonna help us grow the category. This is one thing. The other is that we need to look for like more niche specific places to allocate this money. And this year, I think the two most interesting things we've seen being USDAI, where the guy's trying to lend the GPU power, right? And you can fund that as a retail person, but of course there are also like some larger LPs interested in that, and probably more of the like yield-bearing vehicles are gonna be working with this type of venues to try to also get this type of yield and acting as kind of fund on fund or so, or just a money manager while they diversify their portfolio. Some other interesting venture is a daylight, and I just expect that.
Man, this is just so funny. Sorry to interrupt. Like we talked to Vance and Michael a lot. We talked to AJ from Serotonin. Rob and I are having this conversation like every day for the last 2 weeks. We're like, all right, our brand is completely shifting, focusing on these, and everyone just keeps saying M0, Daylight, USDAI, Sky, a couple others, and like this like tokenization stack, and like this is all you got to pay attention to 2026, guys. Like it's just it keeps happening. It keeps happening.
Yeah. But there is something also interesting. I have like my own theory that comes straight from the trenches, which means if you get the rate cuts, people get more greedy because there is like easier to get the money. If people are greedy, people are more willing to embark onto a risk. And I would say something. There is one thing that we need to recall. What happened in 2020 or 2021? We had insanely low rates, close to zero. It was the golden age of DeFi. Why? Because depositing money in any lending protocol was beating lots of things with regards of risk, right? Because when you think about the risk rate, how to say this, lending markets and all these kind of like most organic, most like core DeFi protocols, they quite often have their curves hard coded, right? Which means your interest rate is a function of utilization. High utilization, high level of interest rates, people borrowing a lot. That means that suddenly, in comparison to anything else, those rates look very, very good risk adjusted, right? If your risk-free rate is 4% and big lending platform lending is 4%, it's not great. If your RFR is 1% and you can go here to DeFi and you can lend at 5%, it's 400 bips over the risk rate. It's insanely good.
That is when DeFi shines. When like rates get around 2%, 1%, and DeFi is way higher. It's because right now it's pretty much the same, and people are pretty bearish on Twitter about it. I saw some tweet. It was like 4% on Aave, 4% on money market. What are we doing here, guys? It's like, all right, bro, come on, man.
Yeah, but then we have like 1% on money market, or maybe 0.5 because they need to cover the admin costs, and suddenly, going to the most trusted DeFi protocols and getting 4%, 5%, 6% on like the most basic activity. Beautiful times.
Piotr, I didn't mean to cut off your last point. Did you want to finish that up and maybe close us out here, guys, on just generally your vision for 2026, what you're seeing here, kind of your maybe some like goals or targets for the space for stablecoins in general, and also for your company, Stablewatch. Like, what do you guys have up your sleeve for 2026?
Sure. So finishing the prior thought, like with USDI, Daylight, and so on, like the bottom line is like we just need more sustainable business models. I think like the next big narrative, I mean, that's been true for bear markets always, is you need to make money, you need to have actually real functioning business. But I believe while we interacting more and more with institutions and there's more institutional money coming into the space, adjust the way. Like you will need to have real business touching like real human like companies problems and so on. And this type of companies do that, and there's a lot of opportunities, especially around like private credit, lending activities, and so on, to come to the space and boost this. And as you said, that Vance and the team been speaking about this recently, and about OBEX. This is also big acceleration point for Sky Custom, I believe, as the OBEX as accelerator gonna be looking for more teams like I think USDRI or this type of a venues to say, which will be able to structure their product silo risk. So all of the balance sheet managers from the Sky side or the Sky will be able to allocate into it. So I think this is the biggest unlock for the whole ecosystem actually for the next year, and especially for Sky. But there are gonna be quite few new exciting products in the space, and especially Sky and all these sub-DAOs gonna be profiting out of this. All of these new ideas also can do pretty well, and all of those people who are not already diversified with their yield strategies, with their balance sheets, they're gonna keep losing, and we already see that in those TVL charts. So until they're gonna switch into similar mode to Sky, which is diversifying the balance sheet, they will have a hard time in the next year. So this is it. And for us at Stablewatch specifically, you can expect that actually like we're gonna be providing much more info around the Sky ecosystem. We're working on some new dashboards as we believe that, yeah, this is one of the most exciting things in the space at all. And we want to stay on top and provide all of the info to our users around that. And we're thinking of
Here we go.
of quite few new formats to provide you alpha and try to help you mitigate all of those risks. So this is it, and quite sometime soon in Q1 you can probably expect some one big news from our side, but I can't spill
Sounds like somebody got a payday. Yes, sir.
Maybe, hopefully.
Got it. Awesome conversation today, Piotr Halko. Great vibes, great year for the yield-bearing stablecoin space. I'm glad we focused on this today. Kind of the traditional Genius stablecoin space is interesting too, but really this yield-bearing space is where a lot of the activity is at. Quantum Cowgirl, interesting X handle. Is this recorded? Yes, it'll be posted on the Rollup YouTube shortly after this call ends tonight. So probably a couple hours, it'll be up there. I'll share it with the Stablewatch guys. I'm sure they will share it. There'll be some nice clips going out. Guys, we're going to be live for one more guest here talking about Base and the Coinbase system update, recapping some of the stuff with Base app. It's been Stablecoins Year in Review, Stabled Up, episode number 14, brought to you by our lovely friends at Frax. Piotr Halko, boys, incredible work on the company. Looking forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
It was great.
Always a pleasure, guys. Welcome back anytime. Go Sky, go Yield Stables. It's going to be a big 2026. 100 billion, baby. 100 billion! All right, boys. Later.
Let's go. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All righty, boys. Boys and girls.
All right.
That was Stabled Up. We'll be right back. Quick update from our boys at Nook, and then we'll wrap this thing up. See you guys in a sec.
Yeet is built for big moments. The most fun you'll ever have with your crypto. Go to yeet.com to yeet into your next game.
Not your keys, not your coins. From the team that pioneered cold storage, Trezor has just released its new wallet. Guys, if you are still using hot wallets in 2025, 2026, you are missing the entire point. Secure your coins. Get a Trezor at trezor.io.
Go anywhere on chain, instantly with Relay.link. Relay is closing in on $10 billion transferred. Go to Relay.link to bridge your assets now.
Money shouldn't wait for Mondays. Following its Rio upgrade, Polygon is now one of the fastest chains for stablecoin transfers and payments. Visit Polygon Technology to learn more.
Kalshi is the world's largest prediction market. You can trade on anything in all 50 states. Go to Kalshi.com to trade today.
Talk to AI like your lawyer or your doctor or your therapist. Yours, private, and here today. Visit near.ai to have a fully private chat experience.
Havachi is fast and private perps trading, secured by ZK with Celestia underneath. Go to hibachi.xyz to start trading today.
Looking for yield that stands out? Infinify gives you just that. Deposit stablecoins and earn far more than the current savings rate. Infinify is a battle-tested, reliable DeFi platform that is ready to go. Head to infinify.xyz.
Halliday is unified crypto payments. Give your users more wherever they are. Go to halliday.xyz to never write a smart contract again.
I'm supposed to be bullish to make money in this career. I can't lie to you guys. I've taken some profits, all right? But I think that we get a really big run in the yield-bearing stablecoins. I'm excited about that. They're really bullish on Sky. I like that a lot. We've been Sky-pilled pretty heavily. Obviously, Athena had a tough run this year, and we'll see more and more kind of come out from the US. Wise of the World's, Bildles, Maple's crushing as well with Syrup. So I generally think this like tokenization stack is going to keep growing. Up next, we've got Joey Isaacson, the CEO at Nuke. Nuke is a on-chain savings app. It should be a great conversation. I think it's probably pronounced Nook. Joey is in San Francisco. He was at the system update event yesterday. I'm sure he's still feeling the energy. Let's bring Joey up and let's get this show on the road. Last guest of the day. Here we go. Let's go. Joey. Welcome to the stream, man. What's going on?
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, definitely still feeling energy. It was crazy energy. Lots of updates last night from the Coinbase team. They were killing it. Stoked to be here, though. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Joey.
How are you doing after many back-to-backs? That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, back-to-backs are great. Actually, I'm just tired from yesterday's show. So we were like doing a full screen share of the event and commenting and had all these guests, and it was great. And you were supposed to be on, but of course you're at the event. And I felt like I was there. I was like, I'm here right now. I mean, I might as well be at the event. You know, I had Alice Cutler from Aerodrome. He was calling into the minute at 4:59 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. So 1:59 p.m. Pacific. He's like, I gotta go. They're playing bass music. I'm like, all right, man. See you later.
Yeah. I saw Alex, and he was like, I'm out of here. He did not stay too long. He had business, so I'm glad he caught up with you guys.
So did you have a good time? Was there a good cocktail party after? What was the vibes like?
Yeah. This is. I left Coinbase this year, right? So earlier in January. Okay. So it's still fresh. It was great to catch up with people and then see some of those projects that we've been working on come to fruition and like see the team just continue to develop and deploy and bring these massive things to market. That was awesome. So be able to catch up with the team, but also see all the new things was great. And then also they brought together probably like 100 founders from the CBV, the Coinbase Ventures portfolio. And a lot of like the best people in crypto were in that room. So just the happy hour was pretty fun.
Yeah, I saw Brian Armstrong at the bar, just like making drink. I saw Brian Armstrong at the bar cooking drinks and like, you know, I
saw Diet Coke. That's what I saw.
Okay, Diet Coke. All right, cool. That's my founder right there. Joey, man, what is Nook? Why did you leave Coinbase? I think being a founder is awesome. Everyone has their own journey. What were you doing at Coinbase? Why Nook? Why now?
Yeah, it's a great question. So Nook is our kind of big swing at taking a very different approach to DeFi earning and getting this in the hands of everyone. And so when I was at Coinbase, we built what was like an early version of DeFi lending that's now in the app today, but we built it about 3 years ago. So it was using DAI and Compound, and it was one of the first, that's kind of aging me. It was one of the first products to market that was in this neobank style that you were talking about earlier. And it's obviously, there's a lot of attention on this space right now. Like Coinbase lending has fully rolled out with Morpho. Kraken has a solution. This is a very different approach, we think, not from the technology side, but really from the approach in terms of the form factor. So what we're betting on is this isn't yield below a trading app or 3 or 4 screens away from the homepage. This is yield and savings right up front. And so we want people who don't know anything about crypto or very little about crypto to feel comfortable coming in and not feel intimidated by chains, protocols, token assets, red charts, green charts. I know you're a little bit bearish, but like either way, it can be a lot to get into the crypto world. And so we're trying to, from an experience perspective, go around that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the base app opening up distribution to millions of users on the wait list is enabling a lot of these kind of like DeFi mullet architectures. I feel like the entire theme of my conversations yesterday was just all about distribution advantages as a easy UX, a platform for people to kind of onboard and then come in. So I know Nook's on the base app. Is it a base mini app? Is that part of
No, not yet. Not yet. So it's hard. I mean, I know you saw the Momo app, and the Momo app has been crushing.
Yeah, that was funny.
I so love the Momo app. I think we had to make a very concerted, like a very specific decision to focus on the non-crypto people that aren't in the base app first. Like, let's make that connection. Let's make that work so that you can introduce your friends to it, your family, etc. Before they have to go into a wallet, right, or a wallet design per se. And so we do want to bring Nook to the base app, and the base team has been awesome. We're on base chain, but we have not been able to prioritize that yet. We first want to prove out, like, okay, is there something here? Do people want this before we start going into other platforms like the base app? But we recently hit $500 million in transactions. And so that was kind of the first milestone or major thing. Like, okay, there's something here. Like, this isn't a fluke and just our friends. So that's been our approach is Nook first, and then eventually we want to be in, any major app that will accept us.
What did that $500 million in transaction milestone? That's a pretty big one there. What did that scale kind of teach you about your app, about user behavior, about risk, about yield? Like, what was the activity? Like, what did that show you about your user behavior? Like, did it give you anything to double down on, et cetera?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. So we learned a lot, right? So we launched in June. And so it's been 6 months 10 months of grinding and 6 months of being live. Yeah. I think the two main things we learned about is how to communicate to people outside of crypto. I think we can talk about chains, rewards, and just jump straight into the nitty gritty, the stuff we love and the stuff that you're very well versed in. That doesn't work with everyday people that we're going after. It has to be more on their terms and explain the fundamentals and really abstract away most of the technology. So I think that was probably the most important part, is really us learning our pitch, because of, for the past 4 years, I was working at Coinbase. Everyone knows, most people know Coinbase, and I could leverage that brand. With Nook and our comms, we don't have a big comms team. Like, we have to do the comms. Yeah. We have to nail that message. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was on-ramping. So I think a lot of crypto apps, they either skip the on-ramp process, mostly assuming that people have stable coins or USDC on chain already, or they kind of just phone it in. But we have really made it like the easiest on-ramp process into DeFi, from ACH wire, et cetera, straight into the highest earning protocol with no bridging, no extra steps, et cetera. And 84% of our transactions are coming from bank accounts, right? What? Versus a lot of crypto apps. Yeah. I mean, we're pretty focused, right? We're really focused on this banking, like this TradFi sector, this non-crypto sector. So 84% of deposits are coming from banks, which is great, because it shows, we're reaching outside of the crypto world. I think if we were just battling for other existing Coinbase customers, it wouldn't be worth it. I would probably just stay at Coinbase. But we want to reach a new segment and like fully build out the ecosystem so we complement each other.
Cool, man. I think we're gonna get the Morpho Vault illustration up on the screen here in a second. But talk to us about the user flow. Then I have a bank account, Wells Fargo, TD, whatever it is. I use Nook. What am I using Nook for, and what is my user flow to do it? How have you made it easy? I'm super curious. I honestly want to try it.
Yeah.
I have this habit of trying things live on the stream.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
You're
today,
let me just give you the overview, and then so we try to remove. We've removed 12 steps of this process of getting on board into a protocol. And I've sat friends, family, customers down and tried to get them onto Morpho and Aave, et cetera, using a proper, Chrome extension self-custody wallet.
Oh yeah, it's a pain, man.
It's a pain. Like if you've never done that before,
it's a pain, and
Christmas
it's a risk.
coming up.
It's a risk too,
Yeah, Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah is coming up. Spend 10, 15 minutes and like really see that experience, and you will gain a lot of empathy. So what we've done is we've partnered with Plaid. So you log in with Wells Fargo, for example, into your Plaid account. And then with Plaid, we do an ACH pull from your Plaid account using Astra Finance. And then from Astra Finance, money is transferred into the Bridge account, and then Bridge converts your cash to a stable coin and then sends to your Nook wallet. That sounds like a lot, and it is behind the scenes. But as a user, it's just like depositing money into Robinhood or any other Web2 account. I think the major thing that we've learned is, and then from there, you don't have to like select a protocol or select a chain. It just goes into the highest earning protocol that we have whitelisted. And so I think the biggest thing there is we get a lot of customers who are like, hey, where's my money? Usually Robinhood takes 30 seconds. Well, Robinhood is floating you that money, right? You can put $50,000 on and they'll let you trade with $50,000. No problem, because it's house money. That's not actually your cash. That's chips in the casino. What people don't realize, because they're so used to those types of apps in the Web2 fiat rails, is they're now actually transacting on chain with crypto using a self-custody wallet. But we've made it so easy to the point where they're using that technology without having to go through the pain that I talked about earlier. So it's really trying to focus on the end-to-end experience is the main thing.
And then the Nook app, is that in the App Store as
well?
Okay, cool.
Google, in the Google App Store place, Apple App Store, we've been live for like 5 months. Yeah. And so that's been a huge sprint to get it there.
Cool. So we got the Yield Explorer on the screen here. And I anticipate what are we looking at here? And I guess if we move our mouse around, things will change around maybe, but we're looking at a visualization of the Morpho vaults here, 633 vaults. And this is on the Nook app website on web. So what are we looking at here? And can our team on the back kind of move things around? Or
You can adjust by filter by TVL, filter by APY. You can see the number of chains. $12 billion in TVL just through the Morpho protocol alone. I think what the team did here was visualize not all the ins and outs of yield. I think the stable team that you just had on, they're incredible at showing all the details of yield bearing stablecoins, these protocols, right? What's the TVL, the risk, all of the nitty gritty details. But we want to represent the opportunity in a more intuitive and a different type of way versus just graphs and tables and overwhelming people. So if you've never gone into a earnings app like Nook, if you've never been on chain with DeFi, this is a great way to explore. Hey, here's the 600 plus markets that make up this $12 billion in value on just Morpho alone, right? There's $70 billion on Aave as well, not listed here. Here's the opportunity. And there's a whole world of options here, and I'm very bullish on vaults for 2026.
So this is super sick. So these are all the vaults, all the yields, the different providers. You're bullish on stablecoin yield as a really, or like, let's call it yield bearing stables vaults as part of the underlying for Nook. And so you guys are like analyzing these vaults real time, giving your depositors access to different yields. How does that kind of work behind the scenes? And what our team is clicking on here is just the different opportunities on chain, if I'm not mistaken. And the value log.
The team nailed it. Yeah, you're looking at a optimistic view of the entire ecosystem, right? You can filter by chain, you can filter by APY, et cetera. So if you want to toggle over, if you want to close out of that modal and then hit the APY toggle, you can, instead of focusing by TVL, you can focus by the high APY. So you'll see, double-digit APYs and explore those opportunities. And maybe those are right for you. But I think what we're missing today is yield as a concept is kind of couched in terms of it's so risk on in some ways in terms of how it's presented that no one's presenting in like a holistic, opportunistic way. And I think basically this and Nook is trying to close that gap. So eventually we want you to access any protocol, any chain that you feel comfortable with to earn, and you say your risk level and we introduce you to the right people. Like I know you're a fan of Athena. We were talking about Sky earlier. There's so many great protocols, and that's when I realized when I joined Coinbase, but they are really missing, I think, great representation. And today, like I don't have an app in my hand that I absolutely love. Nook is good. I think it's got a long ways to go. But like I don't have an app in my hand that I can access all of the potential of on-chain vaults.
Well, I'm trying to get one in my hand right now. Is this thing on the App Store?
Yeah, it's on the App Store.
Nook Savings app.
It's super simple. So what we did
Here
is
we
we
go.
partnered with Privy. All you need is an email, and then you can set up 2FA.
All
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Here we go. The old usual, download the apps and try them live.
Oh, damn, you're doing it live.
Leo, why don't we flip
Let's
off of the share here, go back to the two of us, and we can just kind of talk through this concept here, Joey, that we just keep seeing, right? So even Coinbase with their announcement yesterday, that's just full verticalization of the stack, everything app, etc. Obviously, Robinhood partnered up with Lighter. They're going to introduce perps there. Phantom is using Hyperliquid for perps. MetaMask is bringing in Polymarket for predictions. You would imagine Revolut may want to collaborate with Aave or Morpho and Coinbase. Like there's all these different kind of offerings that are coming from the fintechs, and it all centers around this distribution and around this idea of like, from my perspective, I was telling Robbie this earlier, is like, this app, if you get the Coinbase app, and I feel like it probably applies to Nook as well, whereas like if you're a user of these apps and you actually invest your time into using them and growing your wealth in there, it's like this personal finance journey that you're trying to take somebody on here, Joey. Like you're trying to get me day one downloading Nook here, and then you're trying to get me into year 5 being like, wow, I actually made money every single year on Nook, and now I need this app because I just make money on it. I always make money on this app. It's my personal finance growing
number stays green on Nook. I don't think we have red numbers in the app. So
there you go. And so talk to us about kind of like that loyalty building, how you view like the customer retention creation, like this kind of neobank story just keeps coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the big thing in the first few months of like any venture is you just have to really talk to your customer and listen. And it's like very much hand-to-hand comment. I see too many protocols, chains, et cetera, just like, this is our technology. And they just like shove it down your throat with like boosts and et cetera. And all you're doing is getting mercenary capital to join you for a few months. And then they fizzle out after a token launch or something. Building a real consumer business is incredibly tough, but customers will pick up on it. If you're authentic, if you're sincere, if you're telling the truth, and you're there to answer their questions and help them along the way, like you have a customer and you have a relationship, versus otherwise you have an incentive program that will die as quickly as it started. So the journey has been off to a good start with high yield. I think you're right. We probably are headed into a bear market, but what we've seen in terms of retention is that 50% of users retain in terms of they're still opening up the app a month later. And then about 67% of our users are still deposited close to their maximum amount. So some people have been mercenaries, they come, they leave, but most people are not, right? Most people are saying, hey, the rates dipped, fine, that's cool, I trust you guys, right? And when the rates go up, they'll be well positioned. They're not going from app to app, chain to chain, because they're not that type of customer, right? They want to live their lives. They don't want to be on screens for 4 hours a day. They don't want to look at the dashboards. So building that type of relationship, although I think it is harder upfront, to be honest, versus I think some traders will just instantly join your app if your rate is high enough. I think it will play out in the long term, and that is a main differentiator from Nook, is that I think a lot of these apps treat yield as a retention tool to complement their trading business, because the trading business is just incredibly lucrative, but they don't really want you in yield, right? They want you trading, right? They want you in Hyperliquid. They want you in
perps
Arrow,
and this type of stuff. Yeah.
Like the margins, they were fucking nuts.
Yeah,
So
like
they
I'm
want
not
you
gonna
trading.
like I see like the sources here. You've got Aave, Steakhouse, Spark, couple others here, and I'm not going to get liquidated on Nook. That's just not
No.
going to happen. You know
No,
what
I can't
mean?
promise
Like,
that. I cannot promise that.
I
for
mean,
all
yeah, of course
disclosure
not.
reasons,
You
but, like,
cannot
we're
promise
not putting-
Ave, Seamless, Spark, Steakhouse, and
Yeah.
Gauntlet to not rug us. I get that, and that's the hard part with all this on-chain savings stuff is like, gosh, the smart contract risk is sometimes so, it's like the day of a life of a turkey where it's like everything's so good, and then it's just like, Now
Right.
Ave, Spark, Gauntlet, like, I mean, if these things can't supply us basically like slightly above the risk adjusted free rate with like very little risk, then DeFi just not going to win. And so like you got to be an optimistic bull on like the security of Aave and the security of
Yeah.
Morpho. Like you got to be optimistic enough. But I still, man, like I have some funds in the money markets in like the traditional markets in like a Schwab account, and I feel great. I feel super safe. I know that there's problems that can happen there, but there's still like a level of risk tolerance. Like, I don't know. I think it's good for consumers, investors to have stable coins earning yield and have money market funds earning yield if that's your safe buckets. I wouldn't be putting all mine into stable coins in smart contracts. And I know that's just like not what I should be saying because like I run a crypto
No.
podcast.
I tell customers all the time. They say, "Hey, I just got we tend to talk to a lot of customers who are very early in their financial journey. Hey, I just got my first sales bonus. I've got $5,000, right? Should I put it all into Nook, or I've got my first paycheck even?" And oftentimes I'll say no. You should have. I pull out like standard good finance practice, but like you should have 3 to 6 months of cash on hand for an emergency, and then when you want to diversify to an investment level, go into Nook. And so I'm happy being the Dave Ramsey of the crypto world, just trying to like be the judgmental adult in the room.
Good luck with that. All right, you got a long ways to go there, Mr.
Not at that scale, but
what do you got?
That message.
400
right?
Twitter followers. Come on, Joe.
No, I'm never gonna get to that scale. But in terms of like the tone and like the direct approach, when everyone's trying to sell something, a perp, a DEX, a 500x, like I think for this industry to mature, there needs to be something more realistic in the room.
Yeah, I agree, man. Joey, man, it's been a pleasure. I got the app. I got to run through the usual stuff, but I think I'm gonna throw a G or something on there, test it out, and I've got some capital laying around for chiller investments.
Share it. You're a crypto pro, so you obviously know how to do these things, but share it with friends and then let me know what you think. I'm genuinely curious.
So far, my feedback is here we go, another KYC, but that's the state of things.
Can't avoid that. Sorry.
Yeah. Joey, man, thanks for joining. All right, it's been a pleasure.
Best
of luck on the journey here. It's going to be a growth phase next year. As you saw, we had the Stablewatch guys on last, and rates coming down means these kind of yield bearing products need to diversify into CLOs and different types of fintech products, and usually with lower rates comes more speculation in crypto. So hopefully we get this generally a higher rate for stable coins next year than Trump's trifecta getting us down to 1%, 2% next year seems to be his mandate. So that should lead to a pretty big speculative kind of growth phase, which hopefully we see that reflect in the yield bearing stablecoin TVL expansion, which hopefully comes into Nook and makes it a really good year for you guys. So happy holidays, man. And hope you guys have a good year. We'll have to catch up soon.
Yeah, same to you. Later, Andy. See ya.
Bye. All right, lads and lattices, I'm cooked. I'm done. I am fired up. It is a 3:39 p.m. on a Thursday. Vibes are up. I have not checked the market. Kind of scared. Oh my God. Wow. Dude, the market is cooked. Oh, I'm laughing, but it's not funny, man. Oh, God. Hyperliquid at 22.9. The pain's got to be over soon for our old boy Hype. Oh, does it ever? Oh, my God. Oh, capitulation, guys. So this is altcoin capitulation, guys. This is it. We're in it. It might take another week or two. Maybe it stops by the end of the year, maybe sooner. But we're witnessing what needs to happen before we get another altcoin bull run. Before we get another crypto bull run. Stefan Diggs, my pinned tweet. I'll pin it again. Stefan told me we go up only parabolic trav mode after we wash out the tourists. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the process of washing out the tourists. I'm sorry if you are getting hit right now. It is all right. There is an institutional bull run happening on Wall Street, in NYC, in major tier 1 cities. The institutional bull run is on. Guys, do not leave the market. Do not leave this space. If this bull market was so different than the previous, one could expect the bear market to also be quite different. My take is it's a shorter, less painful bear market for Bitcoin, at least. It's not a Bitcoin to 20K, 30K bear market. It's not going to be that bad. It's not going to last that long. I think October 2026 is the farthest thing we could get with this thing. I think more of Q1, Q2 next year will be looking nice. Guys, if we get our chance to buy crypto assets at a major discount and pessimism is at all-time highs, you best believe we're going to be buying crypto assets at a discount, and we're going to be buying them in size. We're going to be buying them in size. Solana's going under 100. It's about to happen. It looks terrible. Hyperliquid probably goes under 20. Looks terrible. Ethereum, that 2,500 level, 2,250, 2,500 level is looking about ready to be hit. Guys, I don't know what to tell you right now, but it's hard to be short-term bullish on this market knowing that there's all these tax loss harvesting that's going to happen by people who are down on their positions. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm over-exaggerating this with like the somber tone. Like, guys, it's all over. But please have your risk managed. Things could always get worse. There will be a time where pessimism will reign supreme on the crypto Twitter. Bear porn will perform the best. The market will react to people who are bearish as if they are some sort of prophets. Prophets meaning like a god of some type. And we will punish late bears. Late bears will get smoked. And they're going to get smoked hard. But until then, guys, we sit back. We enjoy the family time in the holidays. We be reasonable with our portfolios. And we relax because late bears will get punished. And we're going to punish them. I'm telling you, we're going to punish them. We're going to punish them hard. We're going to fucking fuck them up. But until it's time to give those late bears a new butthole, excuse my French, you got to stay patient and you got to stay tight and you got to keep it low. You got to keep your risk adjusted and you got to make sure that have a plan. And my plan is to absolutely gobble up crypto assets at prices when pessimistic bears will reign the loudest on the timeline. And we'll gobble them up and we'll hold, and it won't be easy. It will not be easy to hold. But boy, oh boy, are we going to have to do it. And we're going to have to hold the line. And we're going to dollar cost average into this market lower. And we're going to be the victors of the next Bitcoin and crypto bull run. And it's going to come sooner than people think. And it's not going to be as painful as it's been in the past. A lot of altcoins will have a lot of pain, but if you're not holding a lot of altcoins, you're not going to have as much pain. Bitcoin, I don't believe, goes under 50. That would be crazy. 60Ks would be insane. And I would love to be a buyer there. We're at 85 right now. 75 is likely ahead. Guys, Thursday, December 18th. Much love. Speak to you soon. Stay frosty. Stay cozy. Last day of the stream tomorrow for the week. Peace.